You think taking down one recruit makes you special? He said, voice sharp as steel. I stood straight. No, sir, but it made them stop laughing. The room went silent. Sergeant Chen's eyes locked on mine. Then let's see if you can make me stop too. My hands trembled. Not from fear, but focus. They wanted a fight? I'd show them what a 5-foot Marine could do. My name is Sarah Martinez. I'm 22, the smallest recruit in my platoon, maybe on the entire island. 5'2", 120 pounds, and yes, a woman of color. From the first day, I could feel it. The judgment, the disbelief, the quiet mockery that followed me everywhere. At roll call, Sergeant Williams stopped in front of me. His boots hit the floor like thunder. "You're kidding me," he muttered. "Who let you in? Barbie?" Laughter rippled through the line. "Answer me, Private." "Sir, the recruiter did, sir," he smirked. Then he made one hell of a mistake. From that moment, I was the target. Every order came sharper, every punishment longer. Williams didn't yell at the others the way he yelled at me. He'd say things like, "You sure you're not lost, Martinez? The beauty pageant's down the road." Each time I answered, "No, sir." Each time, I kept going. Marcus Thompson, 6'4", all muscle and arrogance, loved to humiliate me. "You even lift, sweetheart?" he'd whisper during drills. "Keep talking," I'd mutter. He laughed. "Guess the Corps needed a mascot." They called me Short Stack Diversity Token, the quota. I learned to stay quiet. My silence made them angrier. Every night I'd lie awake hearing their laughter. It used to hurt until it started to sound like fuel. My father used to say, "Martinez blood doesn't quit." So I didn't. I ran harder, trained longer, refused to collapse. One night, after lights out, I snuck into the mat room. The air smelled like sweat and dust. I practiced every move my father had taught me, the hip throws, the balance breaks, the leverage work. Each motion said the same thing. I belong here. Williams caught me once. His silhouette filled the doorway. "You training for the circus, Private?" "No, sir. Training to survive." He stared for a long moment before turning away. For the first time, he didn't laugh. Morning came. The heat pressed down like punishment. Marcus brushed past me during the run. "Move faster, princess." I kept running. My legs burned, my vision blurred, but I refused to slow. Williams barked from the front. "Pick it up, Martinez." "Yes, sir!" I shouted, lungs tearing apart. I finished last, but I finished. That night, I looked at myself in the mirror, sweat, sand, bruises everywhere, and whispered, "Let them laugh now." Because deep down I knew one thing: the day would come when they wouldn't. The mud at Parris Island was thick, heavy enough to pull me down, just like their words. Every day started the same. The whistle, the shouting, the sting of sand in my eyes. But what hurt most wasn't the training. It was the laughter that followed me everywhere. "Pick it up, Martinez," Williams barked. "You think this is a beauty parade? Move!" I ran harder, lungs tearing, boots sinking into the muck. From behind me, a voice yelled, "She's gonna melt in this sun! Her kind always does!" Laughter broke out. I clenched my jaw and kept moving. During rifle drills, Marcus whispered just loud enough for the others to hear, "Hey, short stack! Hope you can see over the barrel." When I ignored him, he chuckled. "Guess they're lowering standards now. What's next? Yoga class for Marines?" Someone else added, "Nah, she's here for the photos. makes the core look inclusive." They laughed again. I said nothing. Silence became my weapon. At chow time, the taunts didn't stop. "Hey, Martinez," one recruit called out, waving a biscuit. "You sure this isn't too spicy for you?" "Maybe she needs her family recipe. Rice and excuses," another shouted. I stared at my tray. The food tasted like metal. I forced each bite down, one after another, pretending their words didn't pierce deeper than hunger ever could. Williams walked past the table and looked at me. "You better toughen up, Martinez. This place isn't made for fragile types." "Yes, sir," I said. He tilted his head. "Or maybe you people just don't know what real work feels like." My throat tightened, but I kept my face still. "Request permission to continue training, sir." He smirked. "You'll need more than permission, Private. You'll need a miracle." That night, I went back to the mats alone. The lights were dim, the air cold. I dropped to my knees, pressing my palms flat, and breathed until the anger settled into focus. I heard my father's voice in my head, calm, patient. "Use their strength, mija. Let them fall on their own." I practiced the old throws, hip turns, balance breaks, foot sweeps. My body moved on instinct. I could still hear their laughter echoing from the day, but it started to fade beneath the sound of my heartbeat. Then the door creaked open. Williams stood there, arms crossed. "Still here?" "Yes, sir." He stepped inside, eyes scanning the mats. "You think practicing this soft stuff will save you? Out there, size wins." I met his gaze. "Not always, sir." He frowned. "You really believe that?" "I have to." He stared for a moment, something unreadable in his face, then turned away. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow the mud's gonna eat you alive." "Yes, sir." But I didn't sleep. I stayed until my arms trembled, until the bruises on my knees bloomed purple beneath the light. Because for every insult they threw, I'd answer with another throw on the mat. By the end of the week, I could feel something shifting. Their words still came. "She'll quit soon. She's just filling a quota. She doesn't belong here." But the laughter wasn't as loud anymore. Maybe they were getting tired, or maybe they were starting to wonder what would happen when the girl they tried to break finally stopped holding back. They called it Combat Day. The air inside the gym was heavy, the smell of sweat, rubber, and nerves. We lined up in pairs, helmets strapped, gloves on, hearts pounding like war drums. Williams read the list out loud. "Martinez, Thompson." The room broke into whispers. Marcus turned toward me, a grin spreading across his face. "You sure you want to do this, Princess?" I met his eyes. "I don't want to. I have to." He laughed. "Try not to cry when I knock you flat." When the whistle blew, he came at me fast. All power, no hesitation. His shadow swallowed mine as he slammed forward, grabbing my vest and pushing me back. The floor burned my palms as I hit the mat. Williams shouted, "Get up, Martinez!" Marcus laughed through his mouthguard. "Told you. Wrong uniform, sweetheart." I rolled to my knees, air ragged in my lungs. He was bigger, faster, stronger, but he was also sloppy. Too sure of himself. He lunged again, aiming to crush me under his weight. This time, I didn't resist. I let him push. I moved with his force, not against it. Just like my father taught me. In one breath, I shifted my stance, caught his arm, and twisted my hips. His momentum carried him forward, right over my shoulder. The impact echoed through the gym. Marcus Thompson, 6'4", 200 pounds of muscle. hit the mat hard. For a moment, no one moved. Even Williams stopped yelling. Marcus blinked in shock, rage flashing across his face. He scrambled up, fists tight. Lucky shot. He charged again. I sidestepped, caught his leg, and swept it clean. Another thud. He went down harder this time. The silence that followed wasn't disbelief anymore. It was awe. Williams stepped forward, eyes narrowing. Do it again. I did. Same move, same result. Marcus hit the mat a third time. He stayed down, panting, sweat dripping from his chin. The recruits around us had gone silent. For the first time since I arrived, there was no laughter. Williams broke the quiet. What the hell was that? Judo, sir, I said, still catching my breath. He nodded slowly. Well, Martinez, looks like you finally found a way to make your size useful. I stood there, chest heaving, heart still pounding in my ears. The room felt different now, heavier, sharper. Marcus glared at me but didn't say another word. I didn't smile, I didn't gloat. I just whispered to myself, size means nothing. And in that moment, I knew everything had changed. I divided the evacuation routes with Carlos and Father Miguel. Trucks would move toward the harbor. Motorbikes and ATVs would take the narrow southern trail. The ambulance crews would handle the elderly and children. Orders flowed from my mouth faster than I could think. People ran, shouted, gathered belongings. Through the noise, I still heard it, the low hum of disbelief. Two men loading boxes near the trucks muttered just loud enough for me to hear. I've never seen a woman giving orders here. Probably just lucky she got the mayor's ear. I pretended not to notice. I'd learned silence could be sharper than argument. Still, their words lodged deep, somewhere between my ribs and my pride. The mountains smoked now, a gray column twisting upward. Every breath tasted like metal. I pointed toward the ridge and shouted, "Keep moving! Don't stop for anything!" Another man called out from the crowd, his voice full of anger. "You just want to prove yourself. What do you know about this place? About us?" I walked straight to him. My voice stayed low, steady. "I don't know your town," I said, "but I know lava. And it doesn't care who you are." He looked away first. That was enough. As the convoys began to roll, the first tremor hit. Short, sharp, like a warning knock from the earth. Dust fell from the church roof, where Father Miguel was organizing families. Children cried, but the priest's calm voice cut through the fear. Carlos came running toward me, radio in hand. "The southern group's clear," he said. "The trucks are leaving the square, but there's a problem." "What problem?" I asked. He caught his breath. "A landslide hit the northern road. 40 workers are trapped at the mining site. The rescue team can't reach them." For a second, everything around me slowed. The shouting, the engines, even the heartbeat of the ground. Father Miguel heard it too. He turned to me, his eyes heavy. "No one's going back up there now," he said quietly. "Not in this storm." I looked at the smoke rising from Mayan's Peak, darker now, trembling with fire. I thought of those 40 people. Faces I didn't know. Names I would never learn. "No one?" I repeated. "Then I will." Carlos shook his head. "Maria, that road's gone. You can't." "I can," I said. "And I will." The priest touched my arm. "If you go, you might not return." I met his gaze. "If I don't go, they won't either." He nodded slowly, as if giving a silent blessing. I turned toward the radio van. My voiceover echoed inside me like a prayer. They doubt me because I'm a woman, because I'm foreign, because I don't fit their idea of a savior. But the fire doesn't care about any of that. And neither do I. The last truck pulled away from the square. The sirens faded into the distance. Behind me, the sky above Mount Mayan glowed a violent red. I tightened the strap of my flight bag and whispered to myself, time to earn their trust, the only way they'll understand, by flying straight into the fire. The gym was silent, except for the sound of boots on the mat. Sergeant Chen stood across from me, calm, steady, unshaken. A man who had seen war and come back colder. His eyes didn't mock like the others. They measured. They weighed. Williams barked, 3 rounds, clean fight. Chen nodded once. Ready when you are, Private. I tightened my gloves. Yes, sir. The whistle blew. He moved like water. Smooth, controlled, no wasted motion. Every step had purpose. Every strike had calculation. I barely saw his fist before it brushed past my cheek. My body hit the mat before I even realized I'd fallen. Get up, he said evenly. That was the first lesson. I rose, dust stinging my throat. Yes, sir. Round 2. He advanced again, faster, but now I was watching differently, not reacting, learning. His balance stayed centered, but his right shoulder dipped a fraction before each strike. His steps fell in rhythm, precise, predictable. When he lunged, I let his force pass me. My hand caught his arm, my hip turned, and before I could think, the floor shook beneath us. He was on the mat. Gasps rippled through the recruits. Chen blinked, then smiled faintly. Interesting. He stood. Again. We circled. The air crackled with tension. He feinted left. I didn't bite. He shifted right. I moved with him, catching his leg, twisting. Another thud. He hit the ground a second time. William's voice broke the silence. Holy hell. No one moved. Chen got up slower this time, sweat beading along his brow. His tone was still calm, but his eyes gleamed with something new. Respect. One more, he said quietly. Round 3. He attacked first, sharper, faster, like a blade flashing through air. I matched his rhythm, step for step, waiting, just waiting for the right opening. Then it came. His weight shifted forward. Too much momentum, too much trust in perfection. I slipped under, hooked his arm, and threw with everything I had. The sound of impact echoed off the walls. He didn't move for a second. Then he laughed. A deep, genuine laugh that silenced the room. He got to his feet, rubbing his shoulder. You're dangerous, Martinez, he said, still smiling. I like that. I saluted, breathless. Thank you, sir. William's voice was softer than usual. What the hell did I just witness? Chen answered without looking away from me. Adaptation. The kind they don't teach. As he left the mat, he paused at the door. Keep training. The fight's never over, not even when you win. When he was gone, the recruits began to whisper again. But it wasn't laughter anymore. It was disbelief. It was the sound of a story being born. I sat on the edge of the mat, arms shaking, heart pounding against my ribs. For the first time, I didn't feel like a mistake. For the first time, I felt like a Marine. By the next week, the whole base had changed. Every corridor I walked through carried my name in whispers. Some said it with respect, others with resentment. Either way, I'd stopped being invisible. Williams was the first to step forward. The same man who'd called me Barbie on my first day now stood in front of me on the mat, arms folded. "Don't think I'm gonna go easy on you, Martinez," he said. "This isn't story time. You embarrassed good men." I looked him straight in the eye. "I didn't embarrass anyone, sir. I just fought." He grinned, a flash of pride and irritation mixed together. "Then let's see if you can fight someone who knows how to hit back." The recruits gathered close. The air tightened. Williams lunged first. Sharp, clean, textbook perfect. His punches came like metronomes, precise and steady. But that was the problem. I could see every move before it happened. When he came at me again, I sidestepped, caught his arm, twisted, and turned his momentum against him. He hit the mat hard. The room gasped. He jumped up, face red. "Lucky move." He came again, faster, louder, angrier. But his rhythm stayed the same, his patterns too rigid. I waited for the smallest opening. And when it came, I swept his leg and sent him down again. This time, when he stood, he didn't speak. He just nodded once, jaw tight, the faintest smile ghosting his face. "Well," he muttered, "I'll be damned." 2 days later, Sergeant Rodriguez asked for a match. He wasn't like Williams. No arrogance, no jokes. He was all speed, aggression, and precision. His eyes burned with focus. When we faced each other, he didn't talk. He just moved. He was faster than anyone I'd met. His strikes blurred. His footwork was perfect chaos. I couldn't match his speed, so I matched his rhythm instead. Every breath he took, every exhale became a pattern. Inhale, strike, exhale, recover. I timed my movement to his breathing. Then I broke it. I shifted when he inhaled instead of exhaling, cutting through his rhythm. He blinked, half a second too late, and that's all I needed. My shoulder caught his center, my leg hooked his, and the world flipped. He hit the floor hard, the sound echoing like thunder. Rodriguez rolled onto his back, laughing breathlessly. "You tricked me," he said. "No, sir," I answered, still catching my breath. "You tricked yourself." By the end of that week, I had faced 10 opponents, 3 of them seasoned instructors, and every one of them hit the mat. No one called me Barbie anymore. No one called me a quota. They started calling me something else. The Little Legend. At first, I hated it. It sounded like a joke. But then I saw the way new recruits looked at me, not with mockery, but hope. And for the first time since stepping foot on Parris Island, I understood. I hadn't just fought for myself. I'd fought for every person who'd ever been told they didn't belong. The call came the morning after my last match. A message from the command office. Report to Colonel Hayes at 0800. The air outside was heavy with fog, the kind that clings to your uniform and seeps into your lungs. I walked in silence, my boots echoing down the empty hallway. Colonel Patricia Hayes was the kind of woman who didn't need to raise her voice to command a room. Her presence did it for her, calm, firm, unshakable. When I stepped inside, she was standing by the window, sunlight cutting across the metals on her chest. "At ease, Martinez." "Yes, ma'am." She turned, studying me for a long moment. "You've caused quite a stir around here." I kept my chin high. "Yes, ma'am. 3 instructors, 7 recruits, all flat on their backs because of you." "Yes, ma'am." A pause. Then quietly, "You've earned their respect, Martinez. But respect comes with eyes and expectations." Her words hit harder than any punch I'd taken on the mat. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. She saw it in my face, the mix of pride and fear I was trying to hide. "You understand what that means, don't you?" she asked. "It means they're watching me now," I said softly. "Waiting for me to fail." She nodded. "Exactly. You've set a bar, and not just for yourself. Every woman who walks into this camp after you will be measured against it. Every recruit of color who struggles to be heard will carry your shadow. That's a heavy weight to wear." The room was quiet for a long time. Outside, the sound of distant drills floated through the open window. Orders shouted, boots striking dirt in rhythm. I looked at her, trying to steady my voice. "Ma'am, I didn't mean to make noise. I just wanted a fair chance." Hayes smiled faintly. "You didn't make noise, Martinez. You made history. Just make sure it doesn't drown you." When she dismissed me, I walked back through the base, and everything felt different. The same recruits who once looked past me now stared when I passed, some with admiration, some with envy. Whispers followed again, but now they sounded heavier. "She's the one. She's the reason the colonel's watching. She better not mess up." That night, I sat alone in the barracks while the others talked and laughed. The nickname Little Legend echoed from somewhere down the hall. It used to make me smile. Now it just felt like a target. I thought about my father, about his quiet strength, about all the times he told me to keep fighting, even when no one believed in me. He'd always said, "You don't get to choose the battles that matter. They choose you." And sitting there, in the dim light of my bunk, I finally understood what he meant. This wasn't just about me anymore. Every bruise, every insult, every victory, they all belonged to something bigger, to every girl who was told she couldn't, to every recruit who was told they didn't belong, to every voice that had been silenced before mine. I wasn't just fighting to be seen now, I was fighting so they wouldn't have to. Graduation day. The air smelled like salt and sun, sharp, clean, alive. We stood in perfect formation, rows of polished boots and proud faces. The brass gleamed on our chests, the eagle, globe, and anchor catching the morning light. When my name was called, I stepped forward. The weight of the emblem in my hand felt heavier than I expected, not because of metal, but meaning. For a moment, the noise faded, and all I could hear was my heartbeat. Every bruise, every word, every sleepless night had led me here. After the ceremony, Sergeant Williams walked toward me. For the first time since I'd met him, he wasn't shouting. He stopped a few feet away, eyes soft with something almost like pride. "You made me eat my words, Martinez." I smiled, shaking his hand. "Sir, I just did what I was trained to do." He nodded, then said quietly, "You remind me why we still train Marines. Not muscles, but fighters." And then he was gone, his boots echoing down the line. Later that afternoon, Colonel Hayes found me near the flagpole. "They're updating the combat manual," she said. "Your technique, your use of leverage. It's being added as a case study." I blinked, trying to take it in. "My technique?" She smiled. "No, Martinez. Your discipline." I watched her walk away, the sound of cadences rising in the distance, the next platoon already in training, shouting in unison under the sun, a new generation beginning where mine had almost ended. I looked down at the insignia pinned to my chest, fingers brushing against the gold. Somewhere deep inside, I felt the echo of every doubt that had ever been thrown at me, every sneer, every insult, every whispered, "She won't make it." And then, silence. I raised my head, looking out over the field, over the faces of recruits who would come after me. My voice, calm, steady, certain, filled the air in my mind like a final salute. They said I was too small, but courage doesn't need height, just heart.